Welcome to The Reasons We Smile with Dr. Kvitko, the show that brings you man-on-the-street interviews, celebrity guests, groundbreaking research, and heartwarming stories about the reasons we smile. Our show is also known as everything you've always wanted to know about dentistry, but were too numb to ask. Hello, I'm General Dentist Dr. Kvitko, and thank you for joining me today.
The following views and opinions do not necessarily reflect those of this station, its staff, management, or parent company. To hear a replay of this show or one of the great shows that previously aired, log on to thereasonswesmile.com or iTunes, keyword Dr. Kvitko or The Reasons We Smile. Listeners should not use Dr. Kvitko's comments and advice in place of an actual dental exam.
Brighten your life with a smile that shows the professional touch of Dr. Kvitko.
Time now for The Reasons We Smile with Dr. Kvitko. Call 459-9769 to discuss your dental issues. Now, here's your host, Dr. Kvitko.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to The Reasons We Smile. I'm Dr. Kvitko. This is episode number 617. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. I want to remind you, if you'd like to follow me on Twitter, it's at Dr. Kvitko. And if you'd please go to my office Facebook page and like us, that would be awesome. All past episodes, complete with video, are available at thereasonswesmile.com, and we're streaming live on Facebook. I was just looking over at the Facebook thing, and it looks like I was almost off camera. So I fixed it. But anyway, hey, I want to congratulate the Buckeyes on their win yesterday. I was in the stands. It was really cold, but I dressed for the part and made it just fine. And of course, I want to wish Chase Young a speedy return to the lineup. We hope that works out well. You know, I was thinking about it. It's kind of sad that... let's see, he took a loan from a family friend for $400 or $500, paid it back, but it probably, because of the NCAA rules, it's probably going to keep him from winning the Heisman Trophy. And yet, in everyday life, for example, people that, you owe your dentist money and it might be thousands and nothing happens if you don't pay. So it just doesn't, it seems like it's out of whack a little bit. And, but anyway, we wish the team well, we wish him well. Now, of course, it's Veterans Day on November 11th, and I want to thank all of our veterans and active military for their service. I really do. This is sincere. I just can't say enough about how grateful I am for the freedoms and the way of life that I enjoy and that we all enjoy. And we wouldn't have it if it had not been for them fighting for it for us. And they continue to fight for it for us, for our freedoms. And I think we all know that freedom isn't free. And my sincere thanks go out to all of you active military and veterans. My father-in-law, George Onisic, was in World War II, and he passed away several years ago, but I want to just remember him. And my father had terrible eyesight. He was not able to serve, but instead he worked at one of the factories that made military vehicles. He's a tool and die maker. So he contributed in his way. And his eyesight was so bad he couldn't even play catch with us. We didn't, Dad could never, he couldn't see the ball coming at him. So, anyway, okay, and you know what? One of the patients we're going to talk about today later in this show, because today's show is Tales from the Dental Office, the kind of things that I see and hear and the people that I deal with and work with. And it's one of my favorite parts of the job is getting to know people, getting to understand their background and, how did we get to this point, not just dentally, but in general. And so... there's this one gentleman in particular that escaped Ethiopia. I learned a little more about this about 2 or 3 weeks ago at my Rotary meeting, where this woman came and presented about her journey and how she was tortured and her husband was imprisoned for 10 years. And the reason is a neighboring tribe, I guess, came and conquered them, and they didn't really do anything wrong except they happened to be in the wrong tribe. So... that's the kind of thing I'm talking about, Think about it. Whatever's going on in your life, no matter how bad, it's better than the people who were cowering and maybe still be cowering in Syria with all of the bombs falling and just the, no food, no medicine, kids aren't in school. It's just crazy stuff out there. And we continue to live this life where we can go to sporting events like Ohio State University's football games and basketball games and all of that and not have to think about much, It's really... we really do take it for granted, and we shouldn't. And so on November 11th, we definitely want to thank all of our veterans and their active military for making that possible. Now, I am going to give away free flowers. They'll be from DeSantis Florist in about 10 minutes. And you know what? I'd love to see those flowers go to a veteran or somebody who's active military. It's not a requirement, so if somebody calls in that's not a veteran or active military, you're going to have a chance to win too, so don't not call because of that. But it'd be kind of neat to see that the flowers went to one of those other folks. Okay, so let me start by talking about, and so by the way, the gentleman that was from Ethiopia that I kind of alluded to a little bit ago, I want to tell you kind of a funny story. I don't know his complete background. I don't know if he was a farmer. I don't know much else. But when he came to me because, well, we just saw him, I guess we saw him on, what date was that? Oh, can't find it. Anyway, it was this last week. And we did a graft on his upper front, not his front tooth, but the one to his right, the lateral incisor, a gum graft, a connective tissue graft, because he had some recession and it was relatively unsightly. And so, but he was telling me, he goes, look here, he says, it's the meat. The meat is gone. And I think that's so funny. It must have something, maybe he was a farmer, maybe he has sacrificed a goat, I don't know. But he calls that gum the meat. And I just think that's funny. I haven't told him I think it's funny, but I think it's funny. Now, we had this gentleman come into the office. He contacted us through the website. It's drkvitko.com. And he was in a lot of pain. And he'd had a really bad history of going to the dentist and not being comfortable. No dentist prior to this visit apparently had been able to get him through a visit that he didn't feel. And everybody's different. You know, I can do the exact same injection on 10 different people or 100 different people, and we'll get multiple responses. Some people are so numb, they feel like their face is going to fall off. Some people, they don't get numb right away, but they eventually get numb, and if I was in a hurry, which I try not to be, I would have hurt them. Other people, they get numb immediately, but it wears off quick. So if you don't start right away, then you're going to be in a situation where they're starting to feel it. So it's all over the map, and basically I see my job as trying to figure that out for each individual and remember it, write it down, because I want every visit to be pain-free and, you know, completely comfortable. So in this guy, and by the way, he'd waited so long because he was so afraid, because he'd been hurt on so many different occasions in the past. I had a hard time getting him numb. and so what we had to do, because I tried, there's 3 or 4 different ways, and I tried all 3. One is traditional, one is what's called PDL, right down there in the between the tooth and gum. You put anesthetic right there, not till after that area is numb, of course, and it percolates down into where the nerve comes into the tooth. Another one is intraosseous. We put a little tiny hole through the gum and into the jawbone itself. It's tiny, the size of a needle, and then we inject the anesthetic right in there so that we can get directly at the root, and that didn't work either. And so my fallback has always been, and again, not very many dentists are IV sedation certified or qualified, or trained for that matter. But luckily for me, I am. I've been doing it since 1985. And so my fallback is to do what's called an IV bolus. So I basically took a needle and injected this sedative drug into his vein. And it makes him super, super relaxed. In fact, he kind of goes under for a second. And then I'm able to get into the tooth, get into the source of the pain, and get it numb almost within, well, it's usually within about 30 seconds I have it. And then over the next maybe 5-6 minutes, the person kind of starts to wake up a little bit more, and now they're more aware than they were before. But by that time, I've done all the painful stuff, didn't hurt them, and I can move on. Now, what I discovered was he had so much granulation tissue. Now, you've heard of me talk about granulation tissue. You've heard of maybe a granuloma. And what that is irregular gum tissue that grows when the body's trying to heal but can't. And so, because he had all that granulation tissue, the innervation, or the blood vessels, the way I had to get the anesthetic to his nerves, it was like a disconnect. It wasn't going to flow in there. There's no way to get there if you don't have the blood supply going to the area to reach the nerve. So anyway, we were able to get him through it. We did have to take him home because he wasn't prepared to be sedated in any way. But hey, that's worth it, you know. We want to make sure that everything goes well and that people are comfortable and that they come back, you know, and that they tell their friends. And I always feel good. It's one of the things that makes me feel the best about what I do. is when I can get somebody out of pain and I can get them out of being so afraid of the dentist and willing to come in for future visits. So, let's see. On that same day, I saw a patient who she has this she has a beautiful smile, but her teeth were a little bit crooked. She's a pretty young girl, and she's been in the trips to the dental office as she's been coming, and we've been straightening her teeth, and she now wants to be a dentist, and that's really cool to me, because she told me that I inspired her to want to be a dentist, and I love that. I just really love that. So she, for Christmas, has asked for, now granted, she's still in high school. For Christmas, she asked for one of those models where doctors can practice and dentists can practice stitching. They're like a rubber mold of teeth and gums, and they have some various incisions, kind of simulated incisions made, and various different procedures. I didn't even have that when I was in dental school. This girl wants it as a high schooler, and so I think it's really cool. I think she's very motivated. I do think she's going to become a dentist. She has about 8 years to go. She hasn't graduated from high school yet, but she will in the spring, or May, whatever that is. And so I think that's really cool. All right, now we have this other girl. Her name, I can't get names. What am I saying? She didn't like her smile, and we were needing to do a combination of orthodontics and porcelain veneers. You can't just always do orthodontics because the teeth are undersized sometimes or oversized sometimes, and you need them to be symmetrical. And so, I could straighten them, but these little baby lateral incisors, they're not really primary teeth. They're just small, and they don't take up enough space, and so things wouldn't be balanced. And so, in addition to moving her teeth around, we went ahead and made 2 porcelain veneers. We just finished her up. I'm just bringing it up because I think it was, it's very rewarding to get somebody through this and to have them, have this gorgeous smile that they've always wanted. And before we go to our break, one last one on that day was this gentleman who dropped his denture. It broke one of the front teeth. It snapped off kind of up inside. We had to put a new tooth in. But the reason I'm mentioning that is if you're a denture wearer and you go to brush it, you need to fill up the sink with water first. Okay, because if you fill up the sink with water and you drop it, nothing's going to happen. It hits the water and floats to the bottom, or falls to the bottom. They don't float. But if you don't have water in the sink and you drop it, that can happen. Okay, so there's a little tidbit for people today tuning in to learn a little bit about dental health and dental health care. All right, so as I mentioned earlier, we're going to do Dr. Kvitko's question of the day. As I also mentioned earlier, it's Veterans Day on November 11th, and so I'm hoping that it's a veteran or active military person who wins, but it's not a requirement, so everybody call, and we will see who the winner is. Before we do the contest, though, we'd like you to listen to this.
This station will not be held liable for any contesting during The Reasons We Smile with Dr. Kvitko. Participation in the contest allows Dr. Kvitko to record and broadcast your name and call. One winner per household. Prizes are non-transferable, cannot be substituted, and are subject to taxes and fees. This station cannot be responsible for the inability to enter the contest, whether due to equipment malfunction or telephone difficulties. All decisions of Dr. Kvitko concerning this contest or eligibility are final.
And now it's time for Dr. Kvitko's question of the day.
All right, and as I mentioned, we celebrate Veterans Day on November 11th, and which is true about my thoughts regarding our veterans and active military. Is it A, freedom isn't free? B, I am grateful for the way of life our military has fought to preserve for me and everyone? C, I'm grateful for their sacrifice, for those people who either didn't make it, gave their life in battle, or the sacrifice that their families have to go through, right? Or D, all of the above. All right, the winner's going to receive a free floral arrangement from DeSantis Florist. They'll be delivered to your place of business this Tuesday afternoon. The number to call, 614-459-9769. That's 614-459-9769. So go ahead and call now.
You won't believe it though. I wanna hear your mind, and there's nothing else in the world tonight. She said, people don't take the time. Hey, people don't take the time.
Hey, what's going on? It's Keith Carlos, winner of America's Next Top Model and star of Chocolate City 2. You can look for my smile courtesy of Dr. Kavitko on the CBS television network, where I play Danny on the hit soap opera The Bold and the Beautiful. Stay tuned to The Reasons We Smile with Dr. Kavitko, the world's most interesting dentist.
Hi, I'm Dr. Kavitko, general dentist and host of the Reasons We Smile radio and roadshow. Did you know that you no longer need to visit several different dental professionals to get more complete dental care? We handle everything from cleanings and orthodontics to restoration, implants, and smile makeovers, all in my office. Get the most advanced technology and procedures available today. It's more complete dentistry.
Visit worldsmostinterestingdentist.com for more info about Dr. Kavitko.
Dr. Kavitko! Let's go! Hi, I'm Johanna, and I've been a dental patient at Dr. Kavitko and Associates for over 10 years. I would really recommend Dr. Kavitko for your family's dental care. They're friendly. They're always there to help me. I feel like family when I walk in the door. It's clean, it's comfortable. Even if I have to bring my kids, they have a great playroom for them. I know when I'm with Dr. Kavitko, they are taking that extra time to make sure that I'm going to be the healthiest I can be. They've been great. I love them.
Call Dr. Kavitko and Associates today, 614-262-9588.
Hi, this is Richard Simmons. Dr. Kavitko's here, and he's going to help you with all of your problems. Are your teeth yellow? He can fix that. Are you missing a tooth? He can put a new one in. How is that?
That's very good. Thank you, Richard. Okay, we're back. We're doing Dr. Kavitko's question of the day. We don't yet have a winner, so I'm going to restate the phone number, 614-459-9769, 614-459-9769. And you call in, you have a chance to win flowers from DeSantis Florist, and the answer is very simple. It's basically my thoughts on veterans and active military. Freedom isn't free. I'm grateful for the way of life our military has fought to preserve, and I'm grateful for their sacrifice, or D, all of the above. I think the answer is obvious. Okay, so we're going to move on with the show. My producer will take the calls as they come in, and maybe we'll be lucky enough to have an active military person or a veteran call in. Okay, so one of the things that I think is cool is the kind of things that I run into at the office. A lot of them are funny. Now, not everything is serious. I don't think this gentleman knows it's funny, and of course we don't name names, and I'll have to hope he's not listening and doesn't recognize the story. But anyway, this gentleman came in because, and he's been a patient, his daughter's been a patient, his wife's been a patient, but we had not ever taken a panoramic x-ray. I inherited him when I bought another practice, and that dentist didn't take those. So the x-rays that we had, that we inherited, didn't go back far enough. So this gentleman comes in, and he says, you know, my wisdom tooth grew back. I want you to take a look. I think my wisdom tooth grew back. So that is impossible, by the way, folks. It's impossible for a tooth to grow back. And so to me, it just means that he didn't have it extracted. He thought he had all 4 extracted, but they only did 3. Or in his case, we found two wisdom teeth still in his mouth, and he was convinced that this one, the one on that part of his mouth, had been extracted. I stopped trying to convince him pretty quickly because I didn't want to get into that kind of discussion. There's no need. The tooth's there. I need to take it out. So it was really infected. It's another one of those with a bunch of granulation tissue. Oh, you should have seen. It looked like almost like each root had like a small raspberry growing on it, so to speak. It looks like a raspberry. And good thing we got it out of there, because his was, it had become pretty painful. And so, anyway, okay, the lesson here is once you have a tooth extracted, it doesn't grow back. You can be born with, say, 5 wisdom teeth or 6. You can be born with an extra tooth. We call those supernumeraries. But you can have a tooth grow back. In fact, maybe I should have that as one of my fact or fiction things at an upcoming show. I think I'm going to do that, because remember we did a fact or fiction show about 3 weeks ago, and I'm going to do a follow-up to that, probably the one that'll air November 29th. So I'll try to remember that. Okay, so then let's see here. Some of the other cool things that we have to deal with. This is also kind of a funny story. So I have this patient, and I've been treating her for a long time, and one of my associates happened to be the doctor there when this woman came in for a root canal years ago, and she has a small mouth, not her fault. I'm not sure. Everybody thinks she has a small mouth, but as her dentist, I think it's a small mouth. And he could not get his hands in there to do a root canal. That's how small her mouth is. And so he gave her back to me. He says, Doc, I think you need to take over. So I did. It wasn't easy, but I did. I got a root canal. This was years ago. But this week she came in. She had a cavity under an old crown, and I had to do a new crown. And everybody was looking at me like, how are we going to do this? Well, crown's a little easier than a root canal. You don't have to go down inside the tooth. You're just working on the outside. It was still tricky, but we were able to get it. So can you imagine if we hadn't had two doctors in the office and my former associate, he couldn't do this work? I guess he'd had to send her somewhere else. But where do you send her? Do you call up the dentist and say, you have small hands and you take people who have small mouths? I don't know how you would do that. I've always felt like it's my job to try to serve well everyone that comes in the door so they don't have to go elsewhere. You know? It's just, to me, it's just a better deal. So, and then we had a guy come in. He had let his mouth get to pretty bad shape, and just about every tooth had a cavity. And I'm not exactly sure. He didn't seem all that nervous to me. Maybe it was money. Maybe he was busy. But anyway, it felt good because we got all the crown that he still needs. Everything is now done. It's nice to look in his mouth. And by the way, since we do tooth-colored fillings now and not silver, so it's almost like putting an eraser in there. So now we don't see dark, old black silver fillings, or we don't see the dark decayed areas. All we see is nice-looking teeth that you can't even tell they're fillings because they're tooth-colored. So that's pretty neat, and it's fun to do. I just enjoy I love the before and after pictures. Gives me a sense of accomplishment. I was the kind of kid where I preferred shoveling snow when there was more than less, because it looked like I'd done more work. I'd pile it up nice and evenly on both sides of the driveway. And the gentleman across the street, when I was shoveling his snow for him as a 12-year-old, he wanted me to just throw it into the front yard. He didn't like having the little sidewalls, how you pile up the snow. But I just needed to have those little sidewalls. I don't know, poor Mr. Johnson couldn't get me to do it the way he wanted. But I did get the driveway clean. So, all right. So anyway, okay. So you're listening to The Reasons We Smile with Dr. Kvitko, episode number 617, and we'll be right back.
You can't take me as I am, not just a little bit. I don't know who to be. I'm a paper cup, baby, of the sea. I know you see it too, 'cause you're too much for me.
This is Clark Kellogg. Stay tuned for more of Dr. Kvitko.
Estás escuchando con Dr. Kvitko aquí en su estación favorita.
Hi, I'm Dominique Reichert. Like what you hear? Why not use the show to promote your product or service by becoming a sponsor? Call 614-262-9588 to learn how. That's 614-262-9588. Call now.
Hi, I'm Dr. Kvitko, general dentist and host of the Reasons We Smile radio and roadshow. I've been honored to help several famous people get a perfect smile, like Keith Carlos and Dominique Reigard from America's Next Top Model, and Ted the Golden Voice Williams from right here in Columbus. Isn't it time you had a celebrity smile? It costs less than you might think, and most of the time, it can be done in one visit. A new smile can make a world of difference.
Visit worldsmostinterestingdentist.com for more info about Dr. Kvitko.
I'm Grandpa, and I go to Dr. Kvitko, and I still have all my teeth. Real ones. Where's my glasses?
If you're just joining us, I'm Dr. Kvitko. This is The Reasons We Smile. It's episode 617. We're just kind of going over some tales from the dental office. Oh, by the way, during the break, we do have a winner of the flowers. It's Linda from the Hilltop area right here in Columbus. And was not a veteran, but I think she has some veterans in her family. Okay, so a couple other cute, I swear, I just love it. This little boy, we've got this woman we're doing orthodontics for, okay? And she always brings her little boy. I think he might be 3 or 4. Doesn't say much. This little boy is infatuated with vacuum cleaners. Every time he comes, we don't have to, but we go and we get our vacuum cleaner, and he spends the whole time acting like he's fixing it and just kind of playing with the switches. And last time he was in, I even brought our carpet cleaner in because it looks kind of like a vacuum. And I told her she needs to buy him a vacuum, like an old one from a flea market or a garage sale that they could take apart. I think this kid's going to be some kind of an industrial engineer somewhere down the line, but it's just so cute. And one of my employees told me that they think that you can buy a toy Dyson that actually works for about $50. So I don't know if Mom will do that for Christmas or not, but we'll have to see. Now, one of my recent new patients is a gentleman who came to me because of this radio show. Said he'd been listening to it for about a year and a half, and he just finally got up his nerve to come in because he has been hurt in the past, very, very nervous, very, very curmudgeon when he first came, to the point where my staff thought he was kind of mean, but he's not. He was just afraid. Works at Amazon during the day, UDF in the evening, and and I feel like we're going to get him through this. We did have our first visit. It went pretty well, but not as well as I want, from my standards. And so I've talked to him about when we do the next visit, we are going to do sedation. We are going to probably do IV sedation. I just want him to be comfortable, and I want to dispel that myth in his head that dentistry is unpleasant or hurts. So I'm looking forward to that visit because I want him to see how comfortable it really can be. He was a trooper. He got along just fine with the first part that we did. I was uncomfortable that it looked like he was still feeling something. So he's agreed to let me do that. Now, you remember the movie Castaway with Tom Hanks? And he was a pilot of, I think it was a FedEx jet that went down, crashed, and he wound up washing up on a deserted island, and all these packages kind of washed ashore. And this reminds me, what happened to me at my office reminds me of that. So we had this gentleman, we made him a bridge. I mean an ear-to-ear bridge. Every tooth on the lower arch was part of this bridge. And somehow it got lost I don't remember hearing of a UPS plane or a FedEx plane going down recently, but this bridge was just missing. We never did find it. We're thinking it may still show up, but it'll be too late because I had to take a whole new impression and send it to the lab and have them make me another one. So anyway, oh, and by the way, in that movie, remember that movie? How Tom Hanks apparently got a toothache, and he decided that he could pull his own tooth by whacking it with a nice figure skating skate, the toe pick on a figure skating skate. That you can't extract teeth with that, so don't even try. But anyway, and let's see. Do I have time for a couple more? I think I might, maybe just one, something like that. Let me looking at the clock here. Isn't it fun, all of the different things that we kind of run into and, get to deal with? I have a woman that she needed apicoectomy surgery, which is resecting the end of a tooth root where there's just an infection that won't go away. And everything we've ever done for this woman has gone smoothly as far as her healing. But this time, it's slow in healing. She thinks she might even have an infection as we speak. I spoke to her yesterday. We're going to get her in on Monday. But she's now diabetic, and she didn't used to be. And so she's thinking, and I'm agreeing, that it could be that she's now become diabetic, adult onset. Adult onset happens as we get older. You weren't born with it, but as we get older, our pancreas can't keep up with making enough insulin to serve our body. And it usually is because we have put on weight, and you have more body mass, and the pancreas just can't keep up. So if you have a few extra pounds, you might want to try to get them off. If you have a lot of extra pounds, you definitely want to try to get them off so you don't become type 2 diabetic adult onset. Okay, so I think I am out of time. Yeah, I'm definitely out of time now. I'm getting the nod. Plenty of stories to come, but and I do appreciate you listening. But that's all the time I have, so don't forget to follow me on Twitter. It's at Dr. Kvitko. Go to my office Facebook page and like us. It's Dr. Kvitko and Associates. Remember that all past episodes, complete with video, are available at thereasonswesmile.com. Be sure to tune in next week and every week right here on your favorite station. Goodbye.
This is Carly Red from Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, the hit show on VH1, urging you to tune in next week with my dentist, Dr. Kvitko.
If you're interested in learning more about this and other dental health topics, go to thereasonswesmile.com to access full episodes of Dr. Kvitko's show.
If you'd like Dr. Kvitko, the world's most interesting dentist, to speak at your next event, please call 614-262-9588. That's 614-262-9588.